Okay, so who remember this story with the girl that got killed in Mexico with her friends? The feds then made a new update, saying that the people that was involved, they lied about it. Like, I guess they saying it was a setup, right? Shaquella Robinson. So we finna check this out. Lamborghini Guap. Like and subscribe to the channel, man. I've been consistent with this shit lately. You know what I'm saying? Well, lately. I think I just started. But y'all support, man. Y'all support a nigga, man. I'm just trying to get my feet wet, man. Bear with me. I'm trying to get my feet wet. But let's check it out.
That the Mexicans have a very strong case, that it's very unlikely that she would be extradited.
New information in the Shaquella Robinson case as the FBI releases some of its files after a news media FOIA request. Robinson left her home in Charlotte to take a trip to Cabo San Lucas, Mexico with 5 friends in October 2022. She died on the trip. The FBI records reveal that on November 9th, a man showed up here to the FBI Charlotte field office.
But one thing that stood out to me about this case is I always believed it was something fishy about that, man. You know, they went out or whatever, and her and the homegirl got into it, and they started fighting, and everybody laughing and all that, but something didn't sound right about that. But we're finna check it out and see, what's the play on this, though. The new updates, basically.
To provide information about what he believed was Robinson's murder. Her friends have said Robinson died from alcohol poisoning after a night of heavy drinking. But the medical examiner in Cabo says she died from a broken neck.
Right.
Okay, y'all, so it looks like the feds are finally ready to make a move in the Shaquella.
Okay, so that's what it was. I forgot about that part about the alcohol poisoning, though. But don't you think that they would thought or to think like, I'm talking about the friends, they thinking we gonna just tell them that it was alcohol poisoning. Don't you think they gonna do an autopsy on her, though? Folks, it's crazy. This motherfucker, man. Thinking that was gonna fly, though. Then could have find out this girl got a broke neck.
Robinson murder case after almost 3 years because newly released documents seem to prove that Shaquella's friends, known as the Cabo Six, unalived Shaquella during their trip to Cabo, Mexico in 2022. The case has been lagging ever since then, even though it moved pretty quickly at the start, especially following the outrage on social media from people who were horrified by the things we found out about the case. The Cabo Six have been fighting for their lives since then, claiming that they were innocent and that they didn't lay hands on Shaquella. But it looks like they have been lying through their teeth because both eyewitness statements as well as the investigation by the feds just.
But we knew they was lying from the jump, though, once the video came out. Or is this the same case? Yeah, I think this the video when the video came out about her and the girl fighting, if I ain't mistaken, though. But we finna check it out.
Just proved that the Cabo Six was lying and they allegedly unalived Shaquella. So what exactly did the feds find out about the murder? And was the whole thing premeditated by the group before they even left U.S. from Mexico? And let's break this all the way down. Now, this case has been going on for a long time now, almost 3 years, and it has been dragging on so badly that everybody thought that it was going to end up as a cold case, or at least unresolved for lack of evidence. There was a public outcry in the weeks following the murder, and then there were calls for justice. However, as the week...
Is she texting someone behind your back? A single Spokio search can help you find...
So months and the months turned into years. We heard less and less about the case until the public attention died down. And it was like the feds had totally forgotten about the case. Until now, that is. Because they just announced an update that promises to see some sort of justice for Shaquella Robinson. See, in the past couple of weeks, several journalists and news channels have been putting a lot of pressure on the feds for an update on the case. Starting from 2023, multiple people have filed Freedom of Information Act requests asking for information. Well, as much information as the feds were allowed to give without compromising the case, of course. Well, the feds finally caved a couple of days ago, and they released 2 parts of documents related to the Shaquella Robinson investigation. And let me tell you, there was a lot going on in the case that we weren't even aware of. The documents were heavily redacted, but according...
See, I had kind of figured that too. I had kind of figured like once, you know what I'm saying, everything break down, they was gonna get to the real nitty gritty of what was really going on, though. But they can't release the information to the public just in case anything happened. You feel what I'm saying? And other shit come out from the people. They be like, oh, how did you know that if it wasn't put out. So I get why they do that though.
Into reports, about a month after she died, FBI reports show they spoke to a person whose name was redacted from the file, who referenced the fight and said they aren't sure what happened, but the unknown person claimed Robinson's friends said she was drinking and hit her head on the toilet. The documents say the person also told investigators they saw pictures of Robinson's body and said there are bruises on her and she looks like she was stomped on. The person also believed there were cameras in the house. According to the reports in the weeks following Shaquella's passing, there were no reports of a single camera being found in the room where she passed, which has fans wondering if the Cabo Six had been aware of the cameras and taken them down as a way to get rid of evidence and avoid incriminating themselves allegedly. But that's not all, because the FBI files say agents searched Robinson's phone. What they found in the phone is redacted. The files also state that in November 2022, authorities in Mexico told the FBI.
So ain't it redacted mean that they ain't gonna let the information out? Well, certain information. But what they say about the girl, she well, the people at the Mexican place, they say that they found her getting hit, or it looked like she been stomped on and everything though. And then the friend said that nah, she hit her head on the toilet from throwing up. But if you do hit your head on the toilet from throwing up, it ain't gonna break your goddamn neck. Yeah, it was some bullshit from the jump, but let's keep going.
They needed to interview someone on the trip so they could get a temporary detention order. Mexican prosecutors eventually would issue an arrest warrant, but no one was ever extradited. Like I said, the FBI files were heavily redacted, but according to someone in the know, the redacted portions allegedly point straight at the Cabo Six, with the evidence suggesting that they did allegedly murder Shaquella. So why exactly did the feds decide to release these heavily redacted documents after all this time? Well, it looks like we have Shaquella's family to thank for that, because they have been fighting tooth and nail to get justice for their daughter. They recently filed yet another civil lawsuit against the feds, and this made the feds sit up and finally decide to do something to appease the family. Shaquella Robinson, a 25-year-old from Charlotte, North Carolina, set off on what should have been an exciting and carefree getaway to Cabo, Mexico on October 28, 2022. The trip was supposedly planned as a birthday celebration of one of her friends. At least that's the story everybody was told. Shaquella left North Carolina in good health, full of...
So another thing that I've been thinking about, right? They saying that that they wanted to hurt the girl before they even went on the trip though. So why not, if y'all was gonna do anything, why not do it in North Carolina? Why y'all wait till y'all go way to motherfucking Mexico to do it? Or maybe was it the fact like, okay, we gonna go to Mexico, kill her, and it'll look better that way? Like, that shit that makes sense though. Like, what type of, I wonder if they gonna say what type of beef that they had, or the problem, or maybe that's gonna come out later on and with further details. But let's finish checking it out.
Life and excitement, just like anyone else who would be heading on vacation. She had no way of knowing that she would never make it back home. She wasn't traveling alone. She was accompanied by a group of 6 people who were supposed to be her friends: Malik Dyer, Winter Donovan, Elise Hyatt, Dejanay Jackson, her so-called best friend Khalil Cook, and Nazir Wiggins. The group had all come together for what would have been a fun and relaxing vacation, but as time would reveal, there was a lot more going on beneath the surface. Notably, Nazir Wiggins didn't arrive with the rest of the group. He showed up a day later and has since made it clear that he had no idea what really took place before he got there. According to him, he was completely unaware of the events that led to Shaquella's sudden and tragic death, while the rest of the group remained quiet or gave conflicting accounts. Azir insisted that by the time he...
So hold on. So the dude that they just showed right there, so what he's saying he made it to the trip after she was dead, basically. Or did I hear that wrong? He's saying like, well, shit, when I made it, she was already dead. And I didn't know what was going on, nigga. They hiding the fact of what's really going on to him. So he get hit blindsided. Maybe that's why he made the first video too, because I remember that. He the first motherfucker that came out with a statement or made a video about the play. You feel what I'm saying? So maybe that was him kind of like, nigga, saving himself a little bit.
He arrived, things had already escalated beyond anything he could have imagined.
So when I got there, she was in the game room. They told me she was not feeling good, so I instantly go to her, put on her side, get a bag,
and all that. So I'm sitting right next to her the whole time. I was not there till the next day. I didn't see a fight. I didn't know it was a fight. I didn't know it was a video. I didn't know they did any harm or anything. I went in there.
Oh, okay. So she wasn't dead. She wasn't dead yet, but she was just already kind of incapacitated, kind of like, fucked up a little bit. You feel what I'm saying? So, okay, we got that. Let's go.
And told it was alcohol poisoning, so that's what I helped her. That's what I helped her at. I didn't leave her side. I cut on soft music. Summer Walker rubbing her head till the nurse came in. It was wrong. And for y'all to be attacking me, an innocent soul, like, I'm really innocent as fuck. I went there to enjoy my birthday. Like, to enjoy my birthday and to really just goddamn have fun. I didn't have not 1 second of fun. And take one shot and then smoke one blunt and then do anything.
Now, from the outside looking in, this was just a group of young adults heading off on a luxurious trip to enjoy the sunset and celebration. However, as details began to emerge, it became painfully clear that what happened in Cabo was anything but a typical vacation. Shaquella Robinson walked into that villa with people she believed were her friends. Unfortunately, not everybody in that room had the same intentions. The morning after they arrived in Cabo, things took a turn that no one would have expected, at least not from the outside looking in. Shaquella's so-called best friend Khalil Cook was the first to reach out to her mother. He called to say that Shaquella wasn't feeling well and claimed that she was suffering from alcohol poisoning. And from the way he described it, it sounded like she was just dealing with a bad hangover, something that was
This space battle made video
vacation with friends. Her mother didn't think too much of it at the time. After all, they were in Mexico, likely drinking and having fun, and Khalil has been a trusted family friend for over years. So there was no reason to question what he was saying, at least not yet. But as the hours passed, things took a far more serious turn. Khalil called her mother again, and this time the situation had.
And then, really, I ain't gonna lie, man, those some fucked up friends, though, if you really think about it, though. You know what I'm saying? We getting more, details about the case or whatever, though, but to know that y'all done did something to this girl or know it was a fight or whatever, then call her mama and tell her mama alcohol poisoning or some shit like that, man. Or to, to call her mama and tell her mama alcohol poisoning, man, that wasn't no real shit, but I get it. Because who gonna call a motherfucking mama and say, we was out here in Cabo or Mexico or whatever, though, the girl started fighting and she broke her neck and fucked her. I ain't gonna say that, man. Motherfucker try to cover it up, so I get it, but that's crazy.
It escalated. He informed her that medics had arrived at the villa in ambulances and were actively trying to resuscitate Shaquella. It was clear that whatever was happening was far worse than a simple case of drinking too much. What started as a supposedly minor health issue had turned into a full-blown emergency. Despite their efforts, the medics were unable to revive her. According to her death certificate, Shaquella was officially pronounced dead on October 29th by 3 p.m. The tragedy was devastating enough on its own, but what made it even worse was the fact that the details surrounding her death didn't quite add up. Her family had been told one thing, but as time went on, as much darker truth began to emerge, the story changed. Now, if we take a closer look at the official death certificate, the story that Khalil and the others told starts to fall apart. The document does state that Shaquella was found unconscious, but there's one major detail missing: any mention of alcohol. Despite Khalil's claims that she had been diagnosed with alcohol poisoning, there was absolutely nothing on the certificate to support that. If alcohol had played even the slightest role in her death, it would have been
See what I'm saying? Alcohol would have been in her system, or it would have showed that.
As a contributing factor, but instead, the certificate pointed to something far more alarming. The official cause of death was documented as severe spinal cord injury and atlas luxation, which is a serious instability or dislocation where the skull meets the first vertebrae in the neck. The kind of injury isn't something that just happens out of nowhere, and it certainly doesn't come from drinking too much. This revelation completely contradicted what Khalil had told her mother and raised even more questions about what really happened in the villa. With this new information, it was clear that the story of Shaquella's so-called friends were telling wasn't just misleading, it was an outright lie. The truth was far worse than anyone could have ever initially realized, and the deeper people looked into the case, the more unsettling the details became. Now, for those of you who don't know what an atlas luxation is, it is a condition where unstable or excessive movement is present in the first two vertebrae of the neck. And to break it down further,
and you know what's tripping me out? I think they told the story about her. Remember what I was saying a while ago about the toilet little part, talking about she was throwing up in the toilet and hit her head on the thing. I think they told that after they came back and heard them folks say that, then they gonna, oh, since it was a broke neck, we need to come up with a broke neck story now, like, well, how she broke her neck. Ooh, they play the game raw, my nigga. Life sentences, fuck them up. Give them folks the business. Don't care.
It means that she basically dislocated top bones in her spine. Now, this condition can either be hereditary or as a result of physical injury. And given that Shaquella has never had this condition, we can conclude that she got it from physical injuries. The spinal cord injury and atlas luxation weren't the only signs of trauma found in Shaquella's body. She had visible injuries that told a much darker story. One of her so-called friends had conveniently left out. There was a noticeable knot on her head, her lip was busted, and one of her eyes was swollen and bruised. These weren't the kind of injuries that just happened by accident. They were clear signs that she had been physically attacked. Then there was a detail from the autopsy report that made the situation even more heartbreaking. It stated that Shaquella had passed away approximately 15 minutes after sustaining her injuries. Now, on paper, 15 minutes may not seem like a very, very long time, but when someone is in pain, every second feels like an eternity. The thought of her spending those final moments suffering, possibly confused and betrayed, is devastating. And this is where things start spiraling out of control for these so-called friends who had been trying to cover their tracks. Not long after the news of her death broke, a disturbing video surfaced online and it completely shattered whatever lies they had been trying to sell. The footage showed Shaquella being viciously attacked by one of the very people she had traveled with, Dejanay Jackson. To call it a fight would be completely inaccurate because a fight suggests that both people were engaging, but that wasn't what was happening here. Shaquella wasn't fighting back. She wasn't throwing punches.
And see, that's another thing that's kind of throwing me out for a loop too, though. Like, why she didn't fight back, though? You feel me? Like, why she didn't swing back, or maybe she wasn't no fighter, or because you know, there's some women like that, or some people in the world that just let a motherfucker just do them wrong. Like, man, I can't, I can't go like that, though. At least fight back. I feel like if she would have fought back a little bit, she would have saved her life. You know what I'm saying? Bitch, you busted up, I'm fucked up, yeah, but nah, not no just to where you just finna yank my neck, just do me like that. No, she should have fought back though. But let's get back to the story, man.
Or defending herself. She was being brutally assaulted while completely defenseless. And the most disturbing part, the rest of the so-called friends just stood there watching. Not one of them stepped in to help her. Not one of them tried to stop Dejanay. Instead, they recorded it like it was entertainment. And then there was Khalil, the very person who called Shaquella's mother, pretending to be concerned. Instead of stepping in, he had the audacity to say, "Shaquella, can you at least fight back?" As if she had a chance against the vicious.
That's crazy. You gonna call her mama and say that, and then on a video you hear this lame ass nigga talking about some. You gonna at least fight back? But I get it. They just thinking it's a girl fight or whatever though. But it get to a point, man. You see this girl getting dogged out like that. Like, hold on, stop, y'all. You feel what I'm saying? But nothing. Yeah, man. Yeah, my nigga. They wanted her to. I don't know if they wanted her to die, but they just let the shit go too far. You understand me? Man, that shit wild.
Just beating she was enduring. The video changed everything. It exposed the truth for the world to see. Shaquella hadn't just gotten sick and hadn't died from alcohol poisoning. She had been brutally attacked, and the very people who were supposed to be her friends. Second, it was just too horrific to watch. But what I will say is that she was hurt horribly bad. And what makes it even worse is that not a single one of her friends stepped in to help. Nobody tried to break it up, and nobody told Dejanay to stop. They just stood there like spectators as if what was happening wasn't real, as if Shaquella wasn't someone that they had called friend. And as disturbing as that video already was, additional reports suggest that Dejanay wasn't the only one who put her hands on her. It's now being claimed that Winter Donovan also played a role in the attack, meaning that Shaquella may have been ganged up on rather than just attacked by one person. Sources allege that Winter grabbed Shaquella by the neck and slammed her into a wall. And when you think about the injuries listed on her death certificate, a broken neck and spinal cord damage, this explanation starts to make a lot of sense.
That's where it happened right there. You feel what I'm saying? When she slung her like that, her neck jerked back and damn, man.
This would mean that Dejanay's assault wasn't even the final blow. Reports claim that Winter's attack came after Dejanay had already beaten her, and that it was only after Winter slammed her that Shaquella stopped moving altogether. The situation got worse when a video went viral on social media, showing her friends gathered behind her back at the resort, and it looked like they were plotting against her.
You gonna keep it hot, what? What Go said, they crew.
The one that's like mediocre is my champion. It even gets worse because the concierge at the resort confirmed that they treated her like an outcast. He said, "She seemed to not fit in with the others. When I introduced myself, she did not greet me or smile. She was indifferent, having nothing to do with the atmosphere of the celebration. She was out of place at that party." He also revealed what the Cabo...
So why be with friends like that, though? But I'm gonna break that down in a minute, though. But let's go, though, man. This shit crazy.
did after Shaquella was pronounced dead. He said, "I left that area and stayed outside the main entrance to give them space to mourn and grieve. Minutes later, I heard laughter." Well, they called her mother to inform her that Shaquella had passed away, but they lied and said that she had died from alcohol poisoning.
So when they got back from the trip with her luggage, what did they tell you happened to your daughter?
That she got sick from drinking. It was alcohol.
Mexican authorities took the case very seriously, and they announced that they were treating the case like...
So hold on, man. They left the girl dead. Well, I mean, they couldn't bring a dead body back, but they brought her luggage back, man. Yeah, man, give them the needle, bro. That ain't no cool shit. Motherfucker play the game so raw. The people that you be thinking your friends or whatever, man.
like a femicide. They also released a statement saying this case is fully clarified and there was an arrest warrant issued for the crime of femicide to the detriment of the victim and against an alleged perpetrator, a friend of her who was the direct aggressor. Actually, it wasn't a quarrel, but instead a direct aggression. We are carrying out all the pertinent procedures such as the Interpol alert and the request of extradition to the United States of America. It's about 2 Americans, the victim and the culprit. But the U.S. authorities were kind of dragging their feet on this case, leading to Shaquella's family to write them an open letter where they openly named the suspect that the Mexican authorities had. The letter said, the viral video showing Shaquella being beaten in the villa while naked by one of the 6 travel mates who was identified by the witness as Dejanay Jackson. The letter continues, as a result of the investigation, a warrant was issued for Dejanay Jackson by Mexican law enforcement, one of the 6 travel mates who fled to the United States after Shaquella was pronounced dead. Ms. Jackson was identified as the perpetrator of the femicide against Shaquella Robinson, a homicide based on gender. If a United States citizen commits homicide in Mexico, it returns back to the United States. As you are aware, they can face criminal charges in the United States under federal law or state law, depending on the circumstances of the crime. The feds seemingly kept...
So the Mexicans basically, nigga, they saying like, we don't want really nothing to do with it, but obviously y'all get out our country and we'll let the United States deal with that. Shady, man. It's crazy out here though. But I guess that's kind of the moral of the story right there though. But my last little commentary on it is, man, you gotta watch who you be with, man. You gotta watch who you think your friends is, you know what I'm saying? Like my boy B said, man, watch your circle before they hurt you. These folks will put you in a crazy blender. And then like the woman was saying, like dude was saying, the whole time that they out there, she was acting like she didn't belong a part of the whole play anyway. She's, you know what I mean, she indifferent and she was kind of, you know what I mean, away from the partying and or whatever. So why even go? I think something happened on that plane, or when they made it, they had an argument or something like that, and things went left though, and then that made her feel like, man, I done came way out here to have fun. These, you know what I'm saying, these hoes did fuck the trip up, and now I'm feeling way uncomfortable right now though. But the more that this story break down, you feel what I'm saying, we'll tap back into it or whatever though. But like and subscribe to the channel, man. Lamborghini gone.